As I exit the Glock fanboy phase of my life, I slowly started knocking Glocks out of my main lineup. It started with the Staccato HDC 3.6. That replaced my Glock 43X as my everyday carry, and I have no regrets. But now I have my eyes squarely set on my Glock 45. And I have to tell you, I tried to knock that Glock 45 competition pistol out of my arsenal last year by buying a Staccato P. Within 90 days, I sold that gun back to its owner because I didn't like it. Now, you might like Staccato Ps, I just didn't get the hype and I didn't think the performance was that much better than my much cheaper gun. Which brings me to this 2K11. Today, we're gonna find out whether or not this is gonna go on Texas Gun Trader or if it's gonna remain in the gun safe and be replacing my Glock 45. But before we get started, I kindly ask that you consider subscribing to this channel because, well, I made this channel with you and I in mind. If you're like me, you have many hobbies. The problem is YouTube penalizes creators who focus on more than one niche because it doesn't know where to put you in the algorithm, and I understand that. But I wasn't willing to give up all of my other passions, such as hunting and fishing, for just doing shooting content, and I don't consider myself a gun tuber. With that said, next week, I am at this very time headed to Africa to hunt for 10 days. When I get back from that, I have a tuna fishing trip with UFC star Chad Mendes. So if you like hunting, fishing, shooting, and adventure, this channel is for you, I promise. Let's go ahead and get started with my Glock 45. I'll tell you what I got on it. The most important thing here is that it has a Tactical Pontoon Heisenberg trigger. I think it's about 3 pounds. Moving into the barrel and comp, they are ARC division. I have a dual port comp, and then of course a Steiner MPS with a TLR H1 Streamlight light on it. I've always really enjoyed this gun. It's been hyper dependable. Overall, I don't have a real aggressive texture on the grip. It feels right for my size hand, which is always a big deal for me since I am 6'7". It's not the prettiest in the room, but man, it certainly gets the job done and then some. You know what? Let me get some more shots on this bad boy. I love this gun. I do have a little cut right here underneath the trigger so I can get up on it so it doesn't rise up as much. That runs. It runs with that dual port comp. Keeps that gun nice and flat. Now, let's go get that Kimber 2K11 and let's get our first shots on that. Let's just compare the two. That's why I wanted to start with this Glock. I don't want to have that novelty effect where I come into it with bias because it's a 2011. So let's go get it. It looks fantastic. I mean, Kimber just did such a fantastic job on the finish of this gun. The slide feels smooth when racking it. Everything feels real sturdy. I'm impressed with the build thus far, I'll say that. So let's put up some of these plates and let's get started. All right, let's see. I enjoy it. Yeah, I really like it right now. I'm not going to say the capital L word, but it feels very good. That trigger was very good. And I did have some shots that I missed, but I think coming from the Glock grip angle to this one, it's a little bit different because the Glock forces me to push in and push down. The draw, what I enjoy is that I just don't have those hot spots. It feels very good in the hand. I mean, I love my Tactical Pontoon trigger, but I mean, can you just... Oh! Hell out of here. That is fantastic. So far. Let's keep going with our testing. Now we're going to get active with it. I like to do mag changes because I really think it tells you a lot about the performance of the gun in motion. Oh. So there we go. Mag change, to be fair, I've got a lot of practice with this gun on mag changes, so it feels like the mags are riding on grass-fed butter. And what it's worth, cheaper than a lot of other builds. So let's head to the Kimber now. Oh, the mag button. It's real sticky. this mag button right here, it's real sticky. I mean, pressing that in was real hard. Curious if you have one of these, if you've experienced the same thing, because that didn't feel good changing the mag on that. But the follow-up shot might make it worth it. I don't know if I enjoy the stickiness of that mag release. That does affect performance. That's why I do these mag changes, because the gun shoots super smooth. However, that's an issue if you're going to bring this into competition, which is what this video is all about. Yeah, it's like you have to really press very hard on the gun. So, not a fan of that, actually. Let's keep going. All right, we're going to test some accuracy with this Kimber. I'm back to 40, 50 feet. How well it does on its accuracy. These are indications. It's accurate. It's definitely lines up on it real well. Again, I'm still getting used to the flow of this gun. It's also lighter than my Glock. Not just because I have a lighter. I actually think it's lighter than my Glock. It feels lighter in the hand. Maybe it's more balanced, is what I should say. It feels very balanced, and I really enjoy it. Yeah, let's get the Glock in here. Just see how it performs. Glock does fantastic. I also think I was a little bit slower on this one to give the Kimber some fairness, because I'm still getting used to how that grip angle works in my hand, where I'm much more natural with this gun, so I'm kind of working a little bit faster. Therefore, I think it's giving a little bit of the illusion of being more accurate, but in reality, I've just shot with this gun so much, and I do love it. With all that said, I'm not so impressed by the Kimber that I don't truly still enjoy my Glock, you know? Yeah, I'm not ready to just like boot this out of my life. Good with this gun? I think I need to get back on the Kimber. Let's get back on the Kimber. So I'm gonna run this Kimber just a little bit faster, see if I can get it moving a little bit more. Oh my gosh. That's just so buttery smooth, guys. Feels comfortable for a non-2011 guy to get into it and feel comfortable and like they're at home when they shoot this gun. Kimber did just such a good job on this gun. Again, I go back to, it feels more balanced, and I know you guys probably think, well, you got a light on it. I have a feeling if I put a light on this, I'm still gonna feel more on that back end sitting into my palm than the Glock 45. So, really digging this gun. I'm obviously really enjoying this gun, but let's compare the triggers and let's just see how fast I can get some rounds off with the Glock versus the Kimber. That was fast. That was fast. I need to keep up with the gun. The gun didn't need to keep up with me. That felt really, really smooth, fast. I felt very, 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 very good manageable recoil. Highly impressed still. Let's move to the Glock. Go! Oh, no slide. Yeah, I thought that went pretty well. I did notice obviously much more travel in the trigger than the Kimber, but I still think, since I already have so much familiarity, I think I was able to run this gun much faster than somebody else who was coming from a Kimber to this gun. And that's just simply because the ergonomics of this gun, geometry of this gun is so much more different. And then I kind of know where the let up on my trigger is because I've shot so often. I think that's gonna conclude my testing of this Kimber 2K11 against my Glock 45 competition pistol. Nobody had any misfires or any jams. I will say that's important to note because, as you know, the Glock is sort of the North Star of reliability. But that Kimber, and we've shot now in between turning the camera on and off and extra cuts, we've shot 500 rounds through both of these guns actually. So I got 500 on this one, 500 on the Kimber just in this video alone, just to give you a round count. No jams on anything, so that's worth noting. Let's wrap it up. Now that I've put this Kimber Pro Comp 2K11 through the paces, the question remains, will I be replacing my Glock 45 with this gun for competitions? And the answer right now is no. Because of my familiarity with Glock, and especially the Glock 45 that I have built out, I think that I can shoot that Glock just as well as I can shoot this Kimber Pro Comp 2K11. With that being said, I will work toward integrating this into my competition so I can get more used to it. But I don't think that the performance leap to this gun is so significant that I would abandon my Glock 45. With that being said, I do think that Kimber is aiming at people not in the 2011 game, like myself, who have a Glock and are looking to upgrade and get out of it. And I think this gun does that. So if you're looking to get a 2011 and you don't have a competition level gun, this is the best on the market. If you do have a Glock, then I don't think this is such a significant jump that you need to purchase it. With that being said, I appreciate you guys. TACFIN&FIELD out.